Listen to me. Right now, not after this, not in a minute. Now, what is happening inside your family right now is not just tension. It is not just the inevitable friction of different personalities living different lives. What is moving against you in the place that was supposed to be your safest shelter is something more deliberate than that. And the reason you have not been able to name it clearly is because you were taught from the time you were young that naming it would make you the ungrateful one, the disloyal one, the one who thinks they are too good for where they came from. That teaching was a trap, and God is calling you out of it right now. I am not here to tell you to hate your family. I am not here to encourage division or disconnection without discernment. I am here to tell you the truth about why certain people, the very people who share your blood and your history, can sometimes be the most precisely positioned obstacle between you and everything God has prepared for you. Because the enemy understands something that most people never fully accept. Generational cycles do not just repeat on their own. They are maintained. They are defended. They are protected by the people inside them. Not out of malice always, but out of fear. Fear of change, fear of being left behind, fear that if one person in the system breaks free, it will expose the fact that everyone else could have broken free too, but chose not to. And when you started moving toward your calling, something shifted in the atmosphere of your family. People who once seemed supportive became subtly discouraging. Conversations that used to feel safe started feeling like tests you were failing. Dreams you shared in trust became the source material for doubt that was handed back to you dressed as concern. That was not love. That was the cycle protecting itself. The window God has opened for you to receive this message is narrow. Most people scroll past the moment that could change everything because it arrives without announcing itself as important. But you stopped. Something in you recognized this before your mind understood why. That recognition was not coincidence. That was the Holy Spirit making sure this word found you before the next decision. So hear every word. CTA 1. If something in you already knows that this message is speaking directly to your situation, type Amen in the comments right now, not as performance, as the private acknowledgement between your spirit and God that you are present and willing to hear the full truth, even when it touches the places you have been most careful to protect. And if you want to be part of making sure this warning finds the next person standing at this exact crossroads, the Ko-Fi link is pinned in the comments. A coffee, a seed. Every offering here becomes a word that reaches someone before the cycle claims another year of their life. You have been feeling it for longer than you want to admit. The heaviness that comes after time with certain family members, the kind that does not lift easily, that follows you home and sits on your chest for days, the way your energy drops in certain conversations, the way your confidence, which you have worked so hard to rebuild, can be quietly dismantled in a single visit, a single phone call, sometimes a single sentence delivered in a tone that sounds like love, but lands like diminishment. You have been telling yourself it is just family dynamics, that every family has tension, that you should be grateful for what you have instead of focusing on what hurts. Stop. That narrative is costing you. Here is what is actually happening. Certain people in your family have built their internal identity around a specific version of you. A version that needs them. A version that is not too far ahead. A version that confirms by its limitations that the limitations they accepted for themselves were inevitable rather than chosen. When you begin to exceed that version, when you start moving toward the calling on your life in ways that make the gap between where they are and where you are going visible, something in them responds. It does not always look like opposition. Sometimes it looks like excessive worry. Sometimes it looks like nostalgia, constant pulling you back to who you were instead of making space for who you are becoming. Sometimes it looks like helplessness, a sudden increase in crises and needs that always seem to peak at the exact moment you are about to take a significant step forward. Sometimes it looks like humor, casual jokes about your ambitions that carry just enough edge to plant doubt without being obvious enough to challenge directly. But the effect is the same. You slow down, you pull back. You give more of yourself to managing the family system and less of yourself to becoming who God built you to be. God sees all of it. He sees the years it has taken. He sees the dreams you quietly set aside because pursuing them felt too costly to the relationships that were supposed to be your foundation. He sees the version of you that has been waiting on the other side of a decision you have been too afraid to fully make. And he is making his move tonight. CTA2. Share this right now with someone in your life who has been shrinking their calling to keep their family comfortable. Someone who knows they are made for more but carries so much guilt about that, knowing that they cannot fully move, because this warning is for them too. The Ko-fi link is pinned in the comments. What you give reaches people at the exact moment when the weight of family expectation is about to win over the pull of divine purpose. Plant your seed. Here is what God is doing in this season that the generational cycle in your family does not want you to understand. He is not just blessing you. He is using you as the appointed breaker of a pattern that has held your bloodline back for generations. The anointing on your life is not just personal. It is strategic. It has a reach that extends backward to what was lost before you and forward to what is possible because of you. And that level of assignment requires a level of separation that feels, from the inside of the family system, like abandonment. But from heaven's perspective, it is not abandonment. It is assignment. Here is the truth about the people in your family who have been subtly working against your progress. They are not all bad people. Some of them love you genuinely, but loving you genuinely does not mean that they are healthy enough right now to be given unlimited access to the parts of your life that God has placed under specific protection for this specific season. Love and access are not the same thing, and God is asking you right now to understand the difference. The person who constantly introduces doubt into your dreams may love you and still be used by fear to undermine your faith. The family member who always needs more of you than you have may love you and still be functioning as a drain on the very resources God needs you to preserve for your purpose. The relative who subtly minimizes your progress may love you and still be operating from a wound that, if you let it, will keep pulling you down to the level where their wound feels less exposed. God is not asking you to stop loving these people. He is asking you to stop letting your love for them override your obedience to Him. CTA 3, subscribe right now and turn on every notification. What I am building in this space is not casual content. It is a strategic community of people who are navigating the exact tension between family loyalty and divine calling. You need to be here for what comes next. And for those who feel called to partner with this mission, the Ko-fi link is pinned. This is an active invitation to invest in the work that is reaching people at the exact threshold of their breakthrough. Let me tell you what the strategy against generational breakers looks like, so you can stop being surprised by it. It does not come as obvious opposition most of the time. It comes as love with conditions attached. It comes as support that always arrives with a subtle cost. It comes as family unity that functions on closer inspection as uniformity. As the unspoken rule that the price of belonging is staying within the boundaries the system has set for what is acceptable to want, to become, to achieve. And the mechanism that enforces that rule is not anger most of the time. It is guilt. Guilt is the primary tool of every generational cycle that needs its members to remain within reach. You are made to feel guilty for your ambition, guilty for your boundaries, guilty for your peace, guilty for the very progress that is supposed to be the evidence of God's hand on your life. Chosen ones who carry a generational assignment are specifically targeted at the point of guilt, because guilt is the most effective way to use their own love against them. You cannot guilt someone into compliance if they do not care. The fact that the guilt works is evidence of how deeply you love. And it is precisely that love that is being leveraged to keep you accessible to a system that needs your energy far more than it supports your growth. God is interrupting your day right now to tell you that He sees the manipulation even when it does not feel like manipulation, even when it feels like love, even when it is coming from people who believe with their whole hearts that they are acting in your best interest. He sees it, and He is asking you to trust His assessment over your own instinct to protect everyone else from the consequences of their own dysfunction. CTA 4. If this word is reaching you at the exact moment it needed to, type 777 in the comments as your declaration that you received this warning, and you are going to make the decision you have been avoiding before the window narrows. And for those who feel called to partner with this prophetic mission, the Ko-fi link is pinned. Your seed funds the next word. The next breakthrough that reaches someone before the cycle costs them another year of their destiny. Plant it. Here is the hardest truth I need to speak to you tonight, and I need you to receive it without letting the guilt rush in to drown it before you have really heard it. God did not place the calling on your life with the caveat that you must carry your entire family system into the fulfillment of it. He did not design your destiny to be contingent on everyone in your bloodline being ready to move at the same time. He did not require unanimous family approval before releasing what He prepared for you. He called you. Specifically, you, not because your family is not loved, not because their healing and their redemption are not also part of His plan, but because in His design, someone has to go first. Someone has to break the pattern before the pattern can be broken for anyone else. Someone has to be willing to endure the discomfort of being the one who moves differently, lives differently, chooses differently. That someone is you. It has always been you. You knew it from the time you were young, that you were made for something beyond the boundaries of what was modeled for you. You felt it before you had language for it. That feeling was not arrogance. It was recognition. It was God's purpose pressing against your awareness from the inside. You can love your family deeply and still refuse to let their unhealed places define the ceiling of your life. You can honor where you come from and still refuse to stay there. You can remain connected in love while creating distance in the specific areas where the connection has been functioning as a drain rather than a foundation. That is not betrayal. That is not dishonoring your family. That is the hardest and most holy form of love there is, because it refuses to participate in what is destroying everyone. It chooses the path that, if followed, will eventually make it possible for the people you love to see that a different way is possible. Your freedom is not just for you. It is the proof of concept your family needs to believe that freedom is available to them too. CTA 5, share this right now with someone who has been told their whole life that their calling is selfish. Someone who carries the weight of being the responsible one, the available one, the one who does not ask for too much. Someone who has been quietly carrying a family system on their back while their own dreams wait. The Ko-fi link is pinned. What you plant here becomes the word that reaches them before they give up on what God built them for. So here is what God is asking you to do. Not eventually, in this season beginning now. Draw the line, not in anger, not in rejection, in clarity. Decide which relationships in your family get unlimited access to your time, your energy, your emotional resources, and which ones need to be restructured because the current dynamic is not sustainable for the calling on your life. Then hold the line, even when it is uncomfortable, even when you are accused of changing, even when the people you love most make you feel like choosing yourself is the same as abandoning them. Because it is not. And God will confirm that to you in the fruit. You will know the line was right by what grows on the other side of it. You have already collected enough evidence to know where the lines need to be drawn. You have already felt it in your body, in your spirit, in the persistent sense that certain interactions cost more than they should. The case is already made. What you are waiting for is not confirmation. What you are waiting for is the courage to act on what you already know without waiting for permission from the people whose permission you should not need. That courage does not come before you move. It comes through moving. The moment you choose your calling over the comfort of the cycle, something will shift in the spiritual atmosphere of your entire family line. Not just your life, the whole line, because that is what generational breakers do. Their courage releases something that had been locked for generations. That something is already waiting. It has been waiting for you, CTA 6, for those who feel called to partner with this mission so that it can keep reaching generational breakers at the exact moment they need this word. The KO-Fi link is pinned in the comments. What you give is not a donation. It is a declaration that breaking cycles matters, that the person standing between their calling and their family's fear deserves to receive what you just received before they make a decision they will spend years recovering from. Heaven honors those who invest in the liberation of others. The link is waiting. Chosen one. The time for waiting on your family to release you is over. They cannot release you. They do not have the authority to release you. The only one who calls you is God, and the only one whose permission you actually need is the one who placed the calling on your life before you were born, before your family had any input into who you were going to become. He has been patient with this situation longer than it deserved. He has been waiting for you to stop waiting for approval from people who are afraid of what your freedom will cost them. He has been holding the door open. He has been sounding the alarm through your own unrest, through the dreams that keep returning, through the sense that time is moving and you are standing still. He has now sent this word directly into your day to remove every excuse for continued delay. What is on the other side of this decision is not isolation. It is not a life built without family. It is a life built in accordance with the design God had in mind when He put you together. And from that life, from that foundation of obedience and clarity, you will actually be able to love your family better than you can love them from inside the cycle, because you will not be offering them your depletion. You will be offering them the overflow of a person who chose God's design over comfort and found abundance there. The choice in front of you is simple, even though it does not feel simple. Draw the line now while the cost is still manageable, or wait until the cycle has taken more of what it has been taking. You already know which one God is asking you to choose. Now move. CTA 7. If you have stayed until the end, subscribe right now and turn on every notification. Share this before you close it. Give this word to 3 people who are in the middle of trying to honor God and honor family when the two are in direct conflict. Click like on this video as your declaration that you received this word. And for those who feel called to become part of the mission that carries this warning into the lives of generational breakers everywhere, the Ko-Fi link is pinned. What you give funds the next word. The next person at the exact edge of their turning point, heaven is watching what you do with this moment. Do not let it pass without answering.